let's get started with our roll call.
Council members, Commissioners Elias. Here. Camacho.
Here.
Laura.
Here.
Lutz.
Here.
Mayor, Chairman, Dr. Sanchez.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Next, let's do the invocation. Mayor Pro Tem, can you assist with that one?
Absolutely, Mayor. May we all stand? We gather here today for today's council meeting to make decisions for our community of Pico Rivera. May we use only our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is best for our community, Pico Rivera, and for our fellow citizens. Amen.
Amen. May you face the flag? I'll lead us in the flag salute today. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. City Manager, do we have any changes to the agenda today?
No changes, Mayor.
Thank you. First item, we have public hearing, and we have a memo in regards to our housing assistance agency.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Yes, this item, item number one, which is for the Housing Assistance Agency. The public hearing is for the consideration of the Pico Rivera Housing Assistance Agency Public Housing Agency Plan for fiscal year 2022-2023. It would be appropriate at this time, Madam Chair of the agency, to open the public hearing.
Okay.
And then,
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Should we start with the public comments? Do we have anybody for public comment regarding this matter?
We have none. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
and then the memo from the city manager on this item is before you as part of your agenda. It's up to council level unless there's questions on the recommendation or comments.
Are there any comments from the council?
It would be appropriate to entertain a motion for to approve the recommendation.
I make a first.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? Motion passes. Second item, we will go into our our consent calendar agenda.
Madam Mayor, we have, do we have public comments this evening?
And we have public comments. Okay. So first, let's start if we have anybody online through Zoom waiting to speak. Okay, go ahead.
Madam Mayor, we have Jose Sanchez on the line. Jose Sanchez?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. Jose Sanchez, as before on the Rosemary Boulevard Trench. I'd like to know who writes the meeting minutes. Are the meeting minutes supposed to be a record of the comments or the opinion of the writer? My comments at the March 8th City Council meeting were and still are about the pounding and vibration that is still going on when heavy freight traffic rolls over the trench, failed again in repair, and that left behind raised asphalt that they felt the ground flush. A repair that ignored planning approved on April 22, 2021, and later approved by this city council on October 12, 2021, but instead, on December 13, 2021, and even after cautioning interim director Rodriguez about the swapped engineering, Public Works proceeded to execute the repair that was rejected in 2019. And even after reworking the trench again last month, by adding rebar pins and more slurry sack. Errors in traffic control probably ruined that. CIP 50041 was the best option to restore Roslyn Boulevard to what it was before, but it was ignored. I can explain why, but as Camacho said 2 years ago, you're not engineers. The payment management item approved last meeting does nothing and is not even close to the trench area. Add to that, Public Works engineers' response is like, we're not Caltrans when the issue is raised, and it's like being back in 2008. 14 years and still forced to endure punning and vibration, battling to retain our sanity, and trying to get Roslyn Boulevard to properly be repaired. And now, in the meeting minutes of March 8, unlike any other public commenter, my comments were labeled as express a dissatisfaction. What does that mean? I offered to talk and have invited anyone in authority at City Hall to bring their laptop and work from my home and feel how bad the punning gets. Punning and vibration, the Public Works can easily confirm if it hired a vibration monitoring consultant, as has been recommended many times. Come and see for yourselves all of the damage that has been done to our cinder block fence. I guess my time is coming to a close. I'll close by quoting from Mr. Albert Einstein, who said, the only thing more dangerous than ignorance is arrogance. Mr. City Manager, you were rushed to staff up Public Works, but the buck stops with you. And so I'm kind of hoping that you are paying attention because this cannot go on. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe, Director Rodrigo, you have been in communication, correct, with Mr. Sanchez? Thank you for that. If you have any questions, I think you are the individual, correct, that could answer that appropriately. Thank you. Do we have any speakers online? Do we have any speakers here in person that would like to speak? No, not today. Okay. So with that, we'll move on to our consent calendar items. We'll move on to consent calendar items number 2 through 11. Yes, Councilmember?
Yes, I'd like to pull number 7 for
Okay. Pulling items number 7. Is there a motion to approve items 2 through 11 minus number 7?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay, let's go into discussion for item number 7.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Particularly in these times, with the economy the way that it is, I actually would prefer that we had a presentation in terms of the overall strategy that we are enlisting in terms of our investment. So let's see, if I can get a second to agendize a presentation on our current investment policies and strategy.
City Manager, do we have a presentation or anything available this evening?
I think we have a report. We can comment on it if need be at this time.
I've seen the report, okay? What I'm looking for is an explanation in terms of the strategy and the policy that we're using for it.
Councilmember Elias, if I may. We are bringing forward a full investment policy for review and consideration for approval for the next fiscal year. In addition to that, with the March 31st quarterly review, we can add a full presentation of our investments. And
So that's going to be included in your
in the March,
presentation?
yes, so the March 31st treasurer's report for that quarter ending March 31st.
So that'll be on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay.
We need a motion, Madam Mayor, then to approve item number 7.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve item number 7.
Okay,
I second.
thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We'll move on to the next item, regular agenda, item number 12.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council, this is the consideration by the city council in reviewing and providing direction regarding the proposed resolution currently entitled to increase transparency and accountability and participation in the city of Pico Rivera government. Before you, in your agenda packet, is a detailed point-by-point breakdown of the various topics that the resolution as proposed attempts to address. We also incorporated the comments from the ad hoc committee, and thank you, Councilmember Lara, for providing that information, and Councilmember Lutz for your participation in the review and analysis. What we did from staff's perspective in the city attorney's office is try to break them down into various topics, various categories of items for the council to consider and to provide direction. The report includes the previous analysis by the city staff and my office, and then it also provided the ad hoc committee's comments. What we did not do is further comment to the ad hoc committee's comments, so because we feel it's now at the council level to provide some further direction or analysis on the various topics. We also provided a summary of the topics near the end of the agenda report with staff's position, the ad hoc committee's position, and then we feel it'd be helpful if the council provides city staff and for the council to discuss and deliberate on which topics you feel need to be addressed and the direction of those topics. So, Madam Mayor, I don't know how the council wishes to tackle this item, but staff stands ready to address any questions and provide any assistance we can for the council in addressing the topics as listed.
Any comments or questions for the council?
Mayor, do you want me to go by point, just briefly give the summary from the ad hoc and what was presented?
Sure, that'll help.
Sorry, this might, if you want me to stop after each point, I can. It's going to take some time because there's 10 points.
Okay.
But I'll try to summarize them as best
Yeah.
as I could. So in the report, yes.
I'm sorry, Councilmember, just clarification. Should we address them individually, or do you want to just summarize them all and then come back individually?
You know, you can stop me if you want. I don't,
I think for the sake of time, I would rather hear ad hoc's recommendation or what they feel
Yeah.
about it.
okay,
and
okay,
take a position on it and just move on.
okay. So go through all 10 at the beginning?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
not-
come back and.
Perfect. Not a problem. So in regards to, I'm looking at the report that was provided to us. In regards to topic 1, city council duties and responsibilities, the ad hoc had no comment or changes. We agreed with this statement as a whole. In regards to topic 2, adherence to Robert's Rules of Order, the resolution stated that the city council does not follow the Robert's Rules of Order, standard order of business. The ad hoc committee disagreed with the statement that the city council does not follow Robert's Rules of Orders or order of standard order of business. Topic 3, regarding standing committees versus ad hoc committees. This was, if I can summarize the original whereas, is stating that there was a resolution which prohibits standing committees. The ad hoc committee had no comment because this item's debatable. And if you see from the comments of city staff, the ability to set up standing committees rests with the body. If we choose to initiate a standing committee, that's our prerogative as a city council. However, we have taken the path of utilizing ad hoc committees just because they're less labor intensive, they don't cost as much money on staff, and we find that we can get
what we need to accomplish using ad hoc committees. Topic number 4, English presentation of city reports. We had no comment or changes to that statement. Topic number 5. Now, this is the be it resolved. Mayor's role in preparation of council agendas. Now, the ad hoc committee agreed in part to the recommendation, and the recommendation is that the mayor should meet with the city manager before the publication of the agenda. And the ad hoc committee agreed with this statement from the proposed resolution and made the following amendment: that we should be included in the preparation of the Pico Rivera City Council's regular and special meeting agendas a minimum of 8 days before the meetings. That was the amendment that was made to that initial whereas. Topic number 6, monthly and annual reports of contracts and MOU labor group meetings. So this be it resolved, asks that each department, commission, committee provide reports, monthly reports. The initial proposal even went as detailed as asking reports regarding every contract for $100,000 or more. The ad hoc committee agreed in part. We agreed that we would like to see monthly reports from department heads and commissions, but we stopped and we felt that asking a report for contracts over $100,000 would just be too time intensive for staff. Let's see, the second part, we broke this one up because this asked for reports regarding meetings with labor representatives according to the MOU. We felt that was something that was necessary. Because these meetings don't happen every month, even though they're supposed to. Sometimes there's nothing to talk about. So both parties choose not to meet, which is completely fine. But when they meet, we felt that it would be appropriate to have a written report given to council. Let's see, moving along. Item number 7, this is regarding standing committees. We went back to this initial statement and we inserted the ad hoc or standing. So the initial proposal was that we reinstitute standing committees, but we said, well, we like the idea of ad hoc, so we allowed that. 8, Robert's Rules of Orders, we had no comment, just because we rejected this item, because we feel that the City Council does go by Robert's Rules of Order. Standing Citizen Committee adoption, we wanted further clarification regarding this item. This is the one item that we thought we needed clarification. Item number 10, in regards to the publication of literature in English and Spanish, the ad hoc committee limited the scope of city materials from English into Spanish to apply to social media postings and informative material for the general public. So we felt that by requiring staff to translate every document, every agenda, it would just be too labor intensive. But we wanted to make sure that social media postings, informative postings, things that are important for the community are translated into Spanish. 11, we had no comment about, and that was the last one, basically. I'm sorry, that was just a brief overview of the main points, and where we agreed with some, others we had no comment, and some we just rejected.
Thank you, Councilmember Letts, yes.
Madam Mayor, if I may add to Councilmember Lara's description on topic 10, translation of city postings. We are well aware that the postings are already in Spanish and English, so we just like to keep them that way, right? But any other documents, I understand that they are available upon request from the citizenry if they should need them in Spanish. But when we come to transcripts of city council meetings, we just like to keep things the way they are.
Councilmember Camacho.
I would like to go through each and every one of them, but
Councilmember Elias?
You require additional discussion?
I would like to go each
Okay.
and every one of them, yeah.
I'll wait for the discussion and then.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilmember Camacho.
So just following along Councilmember Lada's assessment of the ad hoc for each one, so, and basically to Councilmember Lada, if I stand corrected, based on what I'm gonna make a comment based on what you mentioned, just so let me know if that's true or correct. So topic one, the statement stands as it is as correct as it was, and therefore we agree. So no action needed for topic one because it's a statement that is true and correct.
That's correct.
Topic two, adhere to Robert's Rules of Order. We do adhere to Robert's Rules of Order, therefore we'll continue following Robert's Rules of Order as we always have been.
That's correct.
No action on that one, at least from my perspective. Topic three, standing committee versus ad hoc committee. I would agree. I think based on what was presented, at the end of the day, we have as a council, the ability to create and dissolve ad hocs and standing committees. And therefore, I would agree that ad hoc committees are the preferred because of time and so forth. But we should always have that latitude of being able to create a standing committee if need be. We don't have to prohibit ourselves from creating a standing committee. So I would agree with that I prefer ad hocs, but if the wishes of the council ever to create a standing, then so be it. So now, do we require action, a written action for policy purposes? And I will refer to ask our city attorney. On the item number three, topic three, the ability for us to create ad hocs and/or standing committees. It's always been understood, but do we create something in writing, a resolution specifically to that, or do we include in a policy? How would you ask us to address that based on ad hoc assessment?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, yes, as staff has indicated, the staff's perspective that the process of ad hoc committees is a far more efficient manner in which to address specific issues. It is within the discretion of the city council to establish standing committees, but that would require formal action of the city council, adopted by at least 3 members of the body. If the council retains our current practice of ad hoc committees, then the mayor has that ability. I'm pulling up the language.
So, Mr. City Attorney, do we put this in the form of a resolution, this item, or do we include it in our policy and procedures?
Well, we have a resolution in place that was adopted in May 26th of 2020.
But it excludes,
No, I'm sorry, that was not in the form of a resolution.
correct, it's a policy decision, but it excludes standing committees.
Standing committees would have to be adopted by resolution.
So can I make a motion at this given time to approve a resolution that adds both the ability to create an ad hoc and standing committees?
Are you looking to define what the standing committees are, or just the authority for the council to be able
Based
to
on
create
ad hoc,
those?
yeah, based on ad hoc's assessment and recommendation, I would agree that it's okay for us to create ad hocs and standing committees as we wish. So therefore, as we're dealing with item by item, my question is, at this given point, can I make a motion? Of course, discussion is still taking place, but would I be able to make a motion to approve a resolution that gives us that authority?
To incorporate language into this resolution that provides that authority to the council.
There you go.
You can, yes, if you can provide that direction, as long as 2 other of your colleagues agree, then that will be how we address topic 3.
So I would then say that I would make a motion on that item as such, and then have further discussion whether.
Yeah.
I'm going by ad hoc's assessment.
Yeah,
Didn't you include that language?
yeah. So in topic 7, see, what's a little confusing about this document is that, and it's not confusing, it's just a way of resolution, but I think the way I've approached it has maybe created a little confusion. Because you have the whereases and then you have the resolutions to those whereases. So topic 3 about the standing committee, I think that's addressed in topic number 7, which is standing committees versus ad hoc committees. So what we did is we did exactly what you've just stated, is that the initial resolution, be it resolved, advocates for standing committees, okay? But we didn't want to just lock ourselves into only standing committees. So we inserted ad hoc or standing committees, so that we'd have flexibility, hopefully leaning towards ad hocs the majority of the time. But I think what you're suggesting is we've already made that amendment.
True, but I guess for what I'm trying to understand is for best practices, if you will, or for understanding, is do we recreate something new or do we just amend what we already have, which is from the policy side of?
Correct. So your motion, Councilmember Camacho's motion would be to amend resolution, the resolution dated on was it 5/26/20? That says,
Well, Madam Mayor,
No?
that statement in the proposed resolution is not an accurate statement.
got it.
There was no resolution adopted back in 5/26/2020.
Got it.
Just the
It was a policy statement
Got it.
made by the council at that
Okay.
time. So I think if I'm understanding Councilmember Camacho correctly, that, and actually it kind of incorporates what the ad hoc committee is addressing, is a statement somewhere that says the council has the authority to establish standing committees or
Or
ad hoc
ad hoc.
committees.
Yes.
So my understanding is we're dissecting this document and applying the intent of the document or this item in the proper location where it belongs to, we can govern properly. Or expand on our government efforts, not necessarily this document itself, but just where it needs to be. So I just want to make sure that where it needs to be.
Yeah, oh,
Mayor Pro Tem.
yeah, sorry, Hugh.
So to add a little clarification to this item 3 that we're talking, let's jump over to item 7. And in that item 7, in the detailed description, second paragraph below, be it further resolved. And that states, whenever the city council establishes committees, either standing or ad hoc, staff is required to service those committees. A committee structure can be beneficial, especially in larger cities, but cities the size of Pico Rivera generally operate through the entire legislative body. Ultimately, policy decisions rest with the entire city council. So that would summarize that we do have the ability, when we should have the will, to create a ad hoc or a standing committee. So it correlates and goes along with item number 3. So I think what you were saying is what's written in this paragraph. So we would all be in line of maybe merging number 3 and number 7.
And I would agree with that, and that's exactly what I understand it to be. I'm just want to make sure that we put it in the right place out of this document to where it's written as such, where it needs to be written and approved so we can follow it. Not necessarily, I mean, the idea is, there's a lot of recommendations here, and I think that's part of the confusion of this document, and it is the clarity of it, that there's so much of different stuff that it's kind of confused us all a bit, or at least myself, I speak for myself. So I just want to make sure that I agree with that. Where do we put it that is proper, that is?
Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
So I understand what you're saying. If I have you correctly, you want to know how do we, where do we categorize it? Like, where do we categorize it in in how we govern ourselves and how we, apply that governance, right? So, to that, I can only say what the ad hoc committee was given. We were given this document and we were given these suggestions. And we chose not to break it up and to kind of dissect it, but, the mandate we were given was to look at the document and to go through and either agree or disagree, and then give the suggestions of the ad hoc to the full governing body, and then we would have a discussion like we're doing now, and then we could and then things that we like, we can bring back as a later document all together, whether it's 2 or 3 things, or maybe it's nothing, But then we can bring these items back in a full document. It's obviously not going to look like the original, and then we can vote on that.
Thank you for the clarity, Councilmember. In that case, then I support the ad hoc's amended language to this
Okay.
item.
Okay.
And I'll just, let's continue about the,
Were you done going through the other items?
no, I was going to go.
Okay, go ahead, continue. And then you'll be next.
Unless,
If that's all the discussion that we have, Madam Mayor, I move to approve the ad hoc committee recommendations on the resolutions.
No, I'm still going through the items.
So there doesn't necessarily need to be a motion by topic.
What I would suggest, Madam Mayor, is, as you are addressing 3 and 7 do go hand in hand. The language of 3 would be changed to say the city council has the power and authority to establish standing and ad hoc committees pursuant to this resolution or other, action by the city council. 7 sort of defines that process. What I would suggest is that as we take a bite of each part of that apple, that you ask if there's any objection from the council to the recommendation from Councilmember Camacho. I don't think you need to make a motion on each piece.
Right.
And then once we get the pieces together, then a motion would be appropriate.
Okay,
So we take one individually?
yeah,
I just want to comment on
Madam Mayor, I think we're at item number 3 and 7 together.
okay.
Suggestion from Councilmember Camacho is to allow for the council to have the power to create standing committees. Is it also the intent to allow the mayor to establish ad hoc committees, or does that need to be action by the entire body?
No, I don't want to change the ability of a mayor to.
That's already exists. We don't need to.
But we're addressing it, Mayor, right now, because it's been brought to this conversation. And so whatever exists may still continue to exist, but only if the council wants it to exist. So the mayor has the authority to establish ad hocs.
Yes,
What the rules are, and the council has the authority to establish
standing committee.
standing committees. And if that's the suggestion that we maintain the status quo, then we will express that in this document. And if that's the consensus of the council.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, likewise.
Okay,
And so there's no objection, I don't hear any, okay.
So I'm just making
Go ahead.
comments on each individual item.
Go ahead.
More on discussion based on what we established at the beginning. Topic 4, English presentation city reports. Agree with the ad hoc recommendation. Topic 5, mayor's role in preparation of council agendas. I agree with the staff recommendation. I think where I was getting confused in this item was that preparation part, right? And being involved, somehow having unilateral authority. And we shouldn't give anybody unilateral authority to remove or add things to the agenda. But you add clarity to that, and I do appreciate that, because you're basically saying, hey, just give the mayor an opportunity to meet with the city manager, whomever the mayor might be, to review and so forth. Something new, but whatever we can do to improve. I guess my only thing is the word preparation, should we maybe change it to review? I mean, in essence, because we take the unilateral authority issue at heart, in reality, it's to review, to prepare, right? So review to prepare for the meeting, but not prepare the agenda. I just want to make sure some clarity there.
So the ad hoc committee discussed this item, and we were more inclined to be made aware of the working copy of the agenda 8 days prior to, so that we can know what topics that are going to be brought to our attention. It's a little difficult to analyze and do research when the agenda is handed on a Thursday. Friday's a day off for the entire city, so if we have any questions, we're going to have to relay these questions on Monday, and Monday staff is very busy. So they may or may not get to us or give us a thorough explanation. But if we were given a working copy or a general outline of bullets of what's anticipated several days before the actual meeting, now we can be prepared as a council. to be the best council we can be for our citizenry. And that's what we were recommending, to have a working copy rather than to be involved in.
And the working copy is for the mayor, right? Or for everyone?
For everyone.
Okay, so did I miss the part of, for all council members?
No.
This allows-
No, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to just chime in. So when we started discussing this item with staff at the ad hoc committee, there was a desire that was expressed by Councilmember Lutz and myself that, we'd like to see a working copy of the agenda days before Thursday. And I get it, it may not be the final, I completely understand that, but at least having some sort of roadmap to what's going to be posted on Thursday would be great to give council just an advanced preparation, preparatory view of what the agenda is going to look like, kind of to know where we're going before the general public. Because sometimes it's, we're a Thursday night, refresh, and it posts, and then we get it just like everyone else does. When we know that there's a advanced working copy that's being circulated around. So then the suggestion was made, hey, can council members also get that advanced working copy when it's available, either on Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday, maybe the day after the mayor meets with the city manager, just to give the mayor some deference to this topic. And in regards to preparation, you're right, we don't want to give the mayor, no one should have unilateral authority over the agenda, is my belief. Someone shouldn't have the ability to take things off that should be there. But it's just an advance, it's a discussion of the agenda, it's a discussion of things that will be discussed. But it's also, in my opinion, it's also having a member of the council present to have like an intimate meeting with the city manager about topics so that the mayor is the advocate of the city council. Okay? And I get it, in an ideal, and this is not any type of projection on our administration, but there is a separation of power, right? There's a separation of power, and each entity needs to advocate for what they want. Like admin, city manager, they advocate for what they want. We advocate for the will of the council, whatever that is, right, based upon the majority. So I think that's appropriate to get together and make sure that the mayor is the main advocate so that the agenda reflects the will of the council also.
That's a legitimate request, and I think it's only appropriate. It's new, but nonetheless, it's legitimate. I think it's warranted. Then, what I understand, if I'm correct, then have the entire, based on what would be recommended, it would be that the city council as a whole receives a draft, and the mayor, whomever it might be at the time, meets with the city manager to go over that draft. So to review, so they can prepare. So I guess the only thing I would then change is instead of meeting to prepare, but meeting to review the items, in the language, I would just change that. Because in essence, it's a review, right? I would hate for future councils to misunderstand the word prepare and then later feel themselves that they have to sit down and prepare an agenda. That's why I'm not going to, again, that's my concern, not a big thing, but I'm just adding that clarity because of what that word can mean to certain people. So that's all. But I agree with the essence of the ad hoc's recommendation as far as the draft, as far as the mayor meeting to review, and in a timely manner for us. I agree with the essence of that.
Again, to receive council to receive a working copy or bullet points, because it's very vague at that point, bullet points or working copy, council as a whole, at least 8 days before the meeting. That's what I would say we could modify the ad hoc position to be on topic 5.
That for me.
But I still want to advocate for a one-on-one meeting between the mayor and the city manager, in addition to that.
I agree with that as well.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Just let me relate what I
been told by a number of councils and a number of residents here. They have mentioned that this council is the hardest working council that they have witnessed, that we read, okay, and that we discuss and so on. And again, I take that as a compliment, and I take that as the job we're supposed to be doing on here. So, these discussions and so on are necessary. And, the agenda is the document. The document, it's a very important document, and it needs to have our input, our best input into it.
So item
Four?
item 6 now, monthly reports and contracts and so forth. I agree with ad hoc's recommendation. I guess the only part that regarding the labor negotiations, on the confidentiality of it. Just a question to our city attorney. Should we, most of the times that we discuss anything with labor negotiations, it's in closed session. So written reports that are made available to the public, would that undermine our approach, or can we separate certain meetings and discussions that are not confidential?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, the question I would have is the scope of what is being requested in the meetings. Management meets with the employee group representatives, on a variety of topics. Some are, and then there's also the ones that are directly involved negotiations of the MOUs. So if the request is for any time city staff meets with any employee group representative or labor representative, that can be problematic in as much as, it is probably intended to be confidential. And staff would bring to the council those items of negotiation that are relevant at the time of labor negotiations. So I'm just a little unclear, and I don't know if, Steve has any thoughts about how to address this, because as I read the proposal, it provides, council shall receive monthly and annual written reports from every department, commission, committee, and contract over $100,000, as well as stimulated meetings with organized labor representatives under existing memorandum of understanding, to be included in the agenda packet for the first council meeting of the month, reflecting the progress of the previous month. And is the progress report intended to be for the contracts over 100,000? Is the progress report intended to be again, I'm not quite sure what stimulated meetings.
Mr. Attorney, just for clarification, going now down to the ad hoc committee's recommendation, I agree with item 1 and how they framed it as far as, that is true and correct, and I agree with that. And even when they state about the 100,000 would be just too time consuming, I agree with that. Item 2 is the one that I just need clarity on. Is there all items that I've known as far as labor negotiations have been in closed session for confidential reasons? Are there any that we can define that would allow for it to be written? Because that's my concern, that's my only concern. Or do we just stick with confidential as has always been for closed session for all council members?
It would always be my recommendation that any conversation between the city's labor negotiators and the city council, that those reports be confidential and be done in closed session. That's actually, generally the process is required by the Myers-Milius-Brown Act, which is the MMB, which sets the ground rules on how cities, or I should say public agencies, negotiate with their representatives. There are rules defined in the law and the labor code.
And to satisfy the ad hoc's recommendation, if, say, hypothetically, there was a meeting this week or last week, then we should agendize something in closed session for an update.
Correct.
Would that be okay on the confidential side? I'm just concerned on that. I agree with everything else, but I would have to disagree with that one, that item 2.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Topic 6, just to summarize, monthly and annual reports of contracts and MOU labor group meetings. So topic 6, item number 2, which refers to reports regarding organized labor representatives be included in the agenda packet. The current structure is whenever there's an issue with labor unions or staff, we have a private meeting, closed session, which is fantastic. And the ad hoc recommendation is to continue doing that. But now, with further analysis, I would recommend that we be included in many more of those private session meetings about matters of employees or negotiation with labor unions before negotiation is about to start for strategy purposes, rather than after an event has commenced, and be informed on an event that's already commenced where we have no say in it. So I would say that our ad hoc recommendation is to continue to keep that privacy in those sessions, but have them a lot more frequent prior to an action being taken rather than after the action has been taken and us being informed on it.
I would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
I agree with
Yes,
Okay.
Councilmember Lara.
And just to finish up, now going up back to topic 6, item number 1, which is monthly reports from each department. Well, just like any organization, just to be on top and be proficient and have management or council be aware of projects. We receive a bullet point from each department on what projects are being worked on. Not a detailed description, but what projects are in progress, so that we are aware of what's going on in our city from each department. And that could be sent in an email to all council members. So when we're presented with a question from a citizen, we're well aware of the projects because we got that monthly report from each department. Again, we don't want to be blindsided. We want to be informed. We take our position seriously. We represent our community well. This will allow us to represent our community a lot better. As Councilmember Elias mentioned, that there was a comment complimenting our council that we're the hardest working council. That's great. We could probably be even better if we receive those bullet points from each department stating which projects that they're working on that timeline would be helpful. That's how I would break apart topic 6, and that would, I would imagine, be the modified version of the ad hoc recommendation.
And I would agree with that. I just need the confidentiality, the more updates, reports, however platform we use, we should do it. But I just want to make sure it's difference between closed session and open session on labor negotiation matters.
Yes, Councilmember Lara.
Just to follow up on the statement by Councilmember Lutz on the reports. Now, it could just be like a table that is just used every month and is just swapped out with projects. You don't have to write an essay for us. But with our meetings, Gustavo Camacho and I, for the infrastructure, there's some really neat things and like big things happening in our city: roads, water, parks. And when you look under the hood and talk to staff, they're doing a lot. And they have a lot of projects going on, and I'm really impressed and I'm amazed. But it takes an ad hoc meeting. It takes coming in. But if we had those as a city council, these bullet points, we'd have a brief dashboard of what they're working on. And I think that would help guide us and help so that when questions are asked or that, from the public, we can weigh in on them. Just for a last say on that last point about
And remember, when they email you those bullets, you got to check your email. You're going to get more emails.
No, that's fine. Maybe they could all just do it at the last meeting or the first meeting of the month, and they all come together in one PDF report.
We get a lot of emails, that's why I say that.
No, fair enough. Just lastly, one suggestion about the union meetings. Maybe we just have a standing closed item at the last meeting of every month. Just a standing closed item on labor negotiations. And if there's nothing to report, there's nothing to report, totally fine. But we just have it there, and if there's something to report, then it's, that placeholder is there for future meetings. So we just set that precedent.
I was going to make that suggestion. I'm glad you saw it. I think that's best. And whether we have it or not, or do it's there, it's standing. I don't think it'll be an issue. We've had standing items there.
Yep, city manager had a comment.
Yes, as far as the reports go, I understand we actually are doing a lot of things. And one of the things we'll be doing shortly is posting our project pipelines, which will give you a detailed analysis of each department of what we're working on. And we actually plan to post that for the public as well. So that's coming soon. But again, that's what our objective is, just to make sure that everybody's informed as to all the projects that we're doing. So,
And Madam Mayor, if I may, just one
Yes.
on that. As was Councilmember Lotto's mentioning, and we discussed this with our last ad hoc, and, we do, and we've done this in the past, we'll have minutes that eventually will become available through the report or what to the rest of the body, because to the point, it's only fair that everybody else knows what conversations are being had, but also, I want to know what other things are happening in other committees as well. So those are things, just to add information, but that said, then I think I'm clear with this item as it relates to item 2. So I would agree on staff's, ad hoc's recommendation. Topic 7, we've covered. Topic 8, we've covered. 9, I agree. I would agree with ad hoc, unless further information. Item is currently rejected. Topic 10, discuss and agree.
Madam Mayor, I had a motion, okay, and there was no second, so obviously it didn't pass. But the approach, do we want to vote on each one individually?
I would think I can, if I may provide my feedback now. In terms of item number 3, I would refrain from holding solid numbers in terms of like 8 days or 2 weeks or something to that nature. So for instance, I have a standing meeting every Monday with our city manager. And so let's say for this, I'm looking at the calendar and you say 8 days, that would mean that I would have had to have a meeting with him by the prior Monday. I did have a meeting with him. However, I got busy that Monday and we ended up having our meeting Tuesday at 7:30 a.m., which would make him not be within that. So I would say if we could change that to prior to public release of the agenda, because it could happen on a Tuesday, and it also depends on the mayor. Some mayors may be more available that Monday. And so sometimes it is my schedule that Monday I wasn't available. So I told the city manager, let's do it the next day. Sometimes it might be down to the wire and the day before. Sometimes there's items like city clerk, I know, and they're rushing in to get things. So I would like to refrain from any rigid number of dates or days that would put pressure on the staff. And I think in terms of the method, I think that if we can maybe take all of this information and rather than vote as a blanket ordinance or even one by one, each snippet each piece might have an existing ordinance or an existing resolution or an existing policy. So perhaps we could fit that item where it goes in appropriately, and then we bring that back with the city attorney's help. So for instance, the item regarding our standing committee and ad hocs, I'm in favor of that. I support that. A new council may want to have standing committees versus these number of ad hocs. So that would be something that could be a policy. So some of these are, although this is one, it was written as one item, I don't think we should vote it yes in a blanket, yes or no. I think this is great that we're going through each one. But I think that back to Councilmember Camacho's conversation, each item may go into an existing area that exists. Correct, City Attorney?
Yes, well, whatever direction you provide tonight is going to require some crafting of whether it be individual reports on the 11 different topics, or, or to try and recraft a comprehensive resolution that incorporates those things that the council wishes to incorporate and does not address those items that the council's, by consensus, agreed does not need to be addressed.
So with the ones that were rejected, I would say there's no action needed at that time. With the ones that we are discussing, if we could take those to city attorney, city manager, and craft those as appropriate, and then bring those back to us to approve one by one.
If I may make a suggestion, Madam Mayor, and again, and we're not done with the conversation, but I'm hearing some direction on items, 3 and 7 go hand in hand, as I've mentioned. Topic 5, topic 6, and topic 9 still has not been addressed, and topic 10, we have direction from the ad hoc and,
I think those
at
three
least
items-
recommendations from the ad hoc. So if the council is ready to provide direction on any of, if we've addressed those, if there's others, and I know Councilmember Elias has not had the opportunity to address the body, then once we receive all that information, then it comes back to my office and staff. We'd retool it. I would then suggest actually revisiting it with the ad hoc committee and then see if they're comfortable with those recommendations and then bring it back to the council.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
so going along the lines of what you suggested, and based on the discussion and consensus of certain items, some that were the ones that described by our city attorney, then, Cameron, we recommend that the city attorney now go look and draft this in the legal, and put the legal jargon on it, and then come back to the ad hoc, and then bring the items back to us. That would be my recommendation based on what was said, so we can move on.
And Councilmember Elias?
Well, I don't know if that's a form of a motion or what, but if there's a discussion that's necessary, let's have the discussion.
Well, do we need a motion for this one? I mean, it's a recommendation, it's a consensus.
Well,
Seems like-
again,
It
the
stands on itself.
recognition is that the motion is providing us direction, but it's not taking final action, certainly.
No, it's just a recommendation. We're not voting on an item. We're just adding recommendations.
It's up to the chair whether the mayor feels a motion is appropriate or whether or not just the consensus of the council is appropriate.
So that'd be my recommendation will stand.
Yeah, I think it's a consensus to take it forward, so, and then bring it back. City attorney will craft and bring it back to the ad hoc. So, thank you. It was a good
Does that
discussion.
require a motion?
No,
Mayor's indicated that.
No.
no. I think you have direction, correct? Okay. Let's move on to the next agenda item, city manager report.
Yes, Mayor, City Council. At this time, I want to turn it over to Pam Ugar, Director of Park and Recs, to give a quick update on a few items, and then we're going to play a video that we recently had regarding Arbor Day.
I almost thought you said we're going to play a video game or something. I don't know what I was thinking. Great. So our Parks and Recreation Department is reopening, as you all know. We have a new branded theme, and you'll be seeing it around town. We're using the Star Wars theme. The Wreck is back. So you'll start to see that, and we've got new T-shirts that the media team has designed. So everybody will be in full force with that. Our senior center reopened yesterday. We had 60 seniors there yesterday. We had 73 seniors today. The lobby's open, the gym is open, the billiards room is open, and the word is getting out, so everyone's really excited. Just so you know that the food program is not back, and that's not because we don't want it back. That's because SASFA is not bringing the food back into facilities at this time. So as soon as they say so, we'll bring it back. I just wanted to remind everybody that the mini pitch, rolled-on mini pitch futsal court will be open on April 2nd. We hope you all can come. The ceremony starts at 5 o'clock, and that will be over at Pico Park. Farmers markets will reopen again on Wednesday, April 3rd, so we're looking forward to that. And the same week, Saturday, April 9th, we'll be having our extravaganza. outdoor festival over at Smith Park. So we're quite busy. Also, just a reminder, not a reminder, but just to put it on your calendar, and we'll send Sandra an email to get it on your calendars, is we will be having kind of like a reopening party at the Senior Center to welcome everyone back full force, and that will be on Wednesday, April 13th in the late afternoon, kind of like a fun happy hour type of event. So we also have the Women's Mayor's Conference this Saturday. We have 120 gals coming from El Rancho to Pico Park, and we've got a lot of mentors and sessions happening, but I'll let the mayor talk about that when it's her turn. And at the same time, we have RBA opening at Rivera Park at noon, happening on Saturday. So everything's very exciting. Do you want me to talk about the pool?
Yes.
A little bit? Okay. So our swimming pool, is closed right now. We will be, let me just get my notes here so I have it correct. We are working on getting the designs and RFPs together from other cities. We should be ready within the next 3 to 4 weeks to be having our RFP out for design. And then, of course, after that, we'll be bringing it to you to see how we can, how you want to move forward with the design for the pool. But because we won't be open this summer, we have been working with our neighboring cities, with Whittier, with Montebello, Commerce, and Rosemead, to utilize their pools for our summer so we can take our children with our transportation funds and our bus money to take them over to other aquatic facilities so they can enjoy aquatics or pool time this summer.
Thanks. Could we play the video?
Oh, absolutely. Gabe?
It's great to be here this morning here at Pio Pico Park in the beautiful city of Pico Rivera on Arbor Day, so we can plant 65 trees here in the park, around the park, and it's exciting to be here with all the Rancho High School kids, students of Rancho High School who are here to volunteer to plant 65 trees here in our community.
You know, when I moved to Pico Rivera in 1955, this was totally green, and it was a great place to grow up in. So I appreciate the fact that we're regrowing with some more greenery and so on. And the fact that I have a lot of my students here is really, really nice. It just makes this a very proud moment.
We're here as part of a large group of Arbor Day events that are going out through the state of California, where we're planting over 2,000 trees throughout municipalities through a grant through CAL FIRE and Amplifying the Urban Forest. As part of the grant is an educational portion through the grant on teaching our younger generations on the proper methods and on how to plant a tree to make sure it's going to survive throughout its life. Especially, unfortunately, in municipal environments, trees only live from 8 to 10 years. Well, we want to get trees planted into the ground that are native into the areas to where they can live hundreds of years. And teaching these younger generations to do that is where we need to start.
It's good that we're doing something for this park, especially because there's not, as you can see, there's not a lot of trees anywhere here. So that's good that we're doing it.
Today we are here out celebrating Arbor Day, and we're planting trees at Pio Pico Park. As you can see, there's several trees in the area, and our whole family of 6 is out here participating. It helps us feel great. We're contributing to our community, and the example I want to show to our kids are that, hey, we can participate and make a difference in our community, and that these trees do make a difference in the long run.
I want to thank all our partners that have come together. As I mentioned, our Rancho High School students, volunteers, West Coast arborists, and all the rest of the partners who come together to make this happen. Thank you very much. Together, as a partner, we can make our communities better.
I just want to say, too, a thank you to Efren Lee, our supervisor. He's been working with this organization for a year, and no doubt I think there's about 18 municipalities, and they told us that we were the best. They told us we had the highest attendance, that we had the best output. I mean, you saw it. There was hundreds of kids out there, so I really want to thank Efren for his work.
Thanks, Pam. And I'd also like to give a quick update. We are still identifying potential locations for our Veterans Resource Center, working with Community and Economic Development and Park and Recs. And we'll be giving an update fairly soon to the ad hoc and then eventually to council. We finally did receive the MOU from the county and the library, so that's still an option if that is the direction that we eventually proceed down. So again, just a quick update, and that concludes my reports.
Let me ask you about the library MOU. How many days did it allow us?
It's more about hours of operation, so it just depends on staffing, what they're able to provide for volunteers. That's really the critical challenge, is getting volunteers to staff the facility.
Well, no. That's not the
four-
question in
4
terms
hours
of
per
volunteer
week.
veterans. It was the hours that were going to be allowed in the library.
Yeah, during the business hours, it hasn't been defined. It's just based upon availability of volunteers.
And by the way, I did plant some trees. I didn't put on just a shirt.
I wanted to, may I just?
Yes.
I wanted to thank council members Elias and Camacho for representing the council.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for showing up.
Thank you. Well, we go into good of the order.
Can I just, what are the hours of the seniors center?
8 to 5.
Thank you.
Thank you. The good of the order is your AB 1234 reports, any new business or old business. And I'd like to remind the council, we may not discuss items that have not been agendized. So when you report new business, you can state it, request staff to follow up, but we may not take any long discussion about it, okay? So who would like to go first? Any Councilmember Camacho?
Just whole business. I just want to congratulate both Pico Boys and Pony Baseball for their opening day this Saturday, and thank staff, as always, not only Parks and Rec staff, but Public Works as well, for doing a great job, as you always do. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I have a number of items because I want to report on some of the committees that we had, and also bring some items, just informative items to the council. I think it's a good overview. But before I start, I also want to thank the staff for RBA at Smith Park opening, Pico Boys. At Smith Park, they were there having a barbecue, a lot of people. And I took my son later in the day, I think around 5 p.m., because he wanted to go to the jungle gym. And they were still there barbecuing. Then I drove by at about 8. It was dark. They were gone. And all the trash was picked up. And all the black trash bags were in neat piles. So city staff, thank you so much for that. That grass area was clean. I wanted to point that out. Thank you very much for that. So I don't think I attended any official meetings that would fall under AB 1234, but we did have 2 infrastructure meetings ad hocs, Councilmember Gustavo Camacho and myself. On the first one on March 15th, we talked about our roads. We talked about Whittier Boulevard, the improvement and beautification that's taking place there. That whole Whittier Boulevard from Paramount all the way to Mi Hacienda or Clearman's to the bridge is going to be repaved. We are pending an E76 application, which should be back to us in a few weeks. Then we're going to advertise for bids, and we're hoping to award those bids June of this year. We're hoping to break ground in August of this year with a potential construction period of 6 months. That will include hopefully the medians, the utility lines, and also the sidewalks. So we're excited about that project moving forward. That's Whittier Boulevard. We also talked about median beautification for Beverly Boulevard, San Gabriel Parkway, and the corner of Beverly Boulevard and San Gabriel Parkway. We're pending estimates from the landscapers. So we're going to give us landscape designs so that those medians can be kept up. We talked about future medians, Rosemead Boulevard and Slauson. I want to thank staff. I want to thank the engineers, city staff, because the city of Pico Rivera recently was awarded an $8 million grant for our medians. And these are medians on Whittier, Slauson, Washington, Paramount, Rosemead. The staff worked really hard, and we're really excited. They plan on going out for RFP design in the next coming months, if I'm not mistaken. We talked about Mines Avenue Road and the bike lane project. Javier, I'm going to put you on the spot just real briefly, because you have good news. Can you briefly talk to us about the grant that was awarded for the bike lane and briefly how that ties into Mines Avenue?
Sure, absolutely. Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, we do have some good news. As you know, Mines Avenue, the Regional Bikeway Project is a two-part project. The first part is to build a protected bikeway along with bioswales, repaving the roadway, basically from the Rio Hondo all the way to the San Gabriel River entry points. The second component to that project is a bridge that goes up and over the San Gabriel River to connect the two bike paths on each side of the river. And unfortunately, as you may be aware, the bridge was denied by Southern California Edison in that particular location. However, we did identify a really good opportunity in partnership with the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy to identify a new location adjacent to Whittier Boulevard. So we submitted a proposal to the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy for a grant for Prop 68 funding that is directly allocated to the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy. And happy to announce that as of yesterday, we were awarded in the amount of $244,000 to do a feasibility study and identify a new location for that particular bridge to ultimately satisfy the goals and objectives of the Mines Avenue Regional Bikeway Project.
Thank you. Great.
So that Mines Avenue project, just in regards to the repaving, really the reconstruction of Mines Avenue, has been on the table for a number of years. And there's been some setbacks, but we hope to see that this project moving forward and hopefully breaking ground maybe this year. I see Terry shaking his head. That's a big step forward for beautifying our community, moving it forward, making it more modern. The last thing also we talked about on that day was Central Basin. They're going to get back to us. They wanted to take a look at our city and to determine if the recycled water network, if it needs to be any recommendations on advancing the network. There's like Beverly Boulevard, there's Mines Avenue, there's a few areas where there's recycled water pipeline, but there's some other areas that may be tapped into. We also had another meeting yesterday, the infrastructure ad hoc. We went back and we talked about the Rio Hondo project and how we were unable to secure grant funding for that project, for Smith Park. And we went back and we talked about, what did we do right and where we needed to improve. So, there's some steps going forward. I think from our part, we agreed that we need to be more aggressive in terms of council, reaching out to our assembly people, reaching out to our senators, and making them aware of our needs, and we have a game plan for that. We also met with the El Rancho Unified School District 2 school board members, board member Arlene Perez and Esther Mejia. We talked about Ruben Salazar Park. And we presented some ideas regarding the park, and they're going to take it back to their committee and to their board. And then once their board sees the ideas presented, we'll bring it back to council. But we're cautiously optimistic about the partnership and moving this community forward. But thank you. I think that was everything that I wanted.
Mayor, if I could just comment, since I was in the committee with Councilmember Lara, once again, we had updates on current items already in motion, Whittier Boulevard and other Mines Avenue bike lane project. However, we've discussed some items that, good stuff that we'll be bringing forward as recommendations from the ad hoc that I think is going to be great for the city.
And if I may, Mayor, just real briefly, I think this would be a good time just to briefly give a brief comment about the need for minutes in some of these meetings, especially these items. Instead of me having to get up here and talk for several minutes, if we had minutes, then all the council members would know what was talked about, and it would make them aware of projects moving forward.
Thank you. Yes.
Just a question. The mines,
That's not going to be right in the middle of the bike lane, is it?
No. As it's
Okay, thank you.
designed, we addressed those concerns that
Yeah.
we faced in the,
Please say that loudly, okay?
we did address those concerns.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, do you have any comments?
Well, I had the opportunity to attend the grand opening of the Pony Fast Pitch at Smith Park with the rest of the council, and also the grand opening of the baseball season for the Pico Boys at Streamland Park. It was great, and I got there early and started munching on the items that the people were selling for fundraising purposes. So I got a big stomach and I ate a lot. With that being said, I did want to clarify, Madam Mayor, the beautification ad hoc, that we did create, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I did want to direct staff to work on researching wayfinders. So wayfinders, just to let the public know, are markers at the corners of sections of towns that let them know what section of town that you're in. And I envision, and I'd like to have staff work on this several hours and let us know what the cost would be so we can incorporate it in the budget. In the north part of town, we have the properties that are zoned equestrian. I'd envision wayfinders as you enter San Gabriel River Parkway, a wayfinder that says, "Welcome to Pico Rivera's Equestrian District." Now we're elevating the status of that section of town. If we go in the center part of town, as you're on Whittier Boulevard and Durfee, you see a wayfinder on the intersection there that says, "Welcome to downtown Durfee District." And now you could just think of the other parts of town that we elevate their status. People will have a sense of pride of their community, even that much more than they already have. And so what that does is that elevates our status of our community from here to there, and businesses will be encouraged to come. And with the modification and upgrades of the streets, these wayfinders is the cherry on top to make our community look and feel better as residents, as we're driving down the streets, and businesses to encourage people to come into our neighborhoods to shop and dine. So if we can have staff work on that to see what that cost would be, and I'd like that to be brought forth to council, and we can work on it on the beautification ad hoc on that item. And then specifically, the center part of town on Passons and Washington Boulevard, we actually have a wayfinder there that says, "Welcome to Pico Rivera." I would imagine seeing a big American flag there, "Welcome to Pico Rivera, City Hall, and the police station, Civic Center this way," but with a nice marquee and wayfinder, an improved version with all our local club seals, larger, brighter, and nicer, with some lighting and a big American flag that is prominent. So that, say, 10, 12 years from now, because that is going to be the center of town, as the train stops, they'll see that nice flag there, and, you know, it would encourage people to say, boy, this city is leveling up. So that's the vision as Project One of the beautification ad hoc. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Elias?
I wanted to thank my students for, for their civic pride. I just wanted to let you know that the El Rancho is embracing a civics participation type program. So I think we're going to have more students accessing and volunteering for activities in there, because they will be getting credit, in their civics and social science. So that's a good omen. I had to issue extra credit. I had everybody show me their nails. Okay, if there was no dirt under their nails, they weren't there. Okay, so and everybody was happy with with that there. Some old business, and again, I'm basically, talking about some of the things that were mentioned at the last council meeting that I had a chance to. Mr. City Manager, you spoke about the prime and your increase in your rates, we're still going to be like 1%.
Yes, less than that.
Now, I calculated 1% on my monthly bill, and that's 38 cents. Okay, I still do not see, and I think it should be done because we're in the business now of power, a marketing and promotion plan, okay? Because again, people have to understand why they've selected us, the return on investment that they're getting in terms of the city and so on. So, there has to be that distinction, okay? Because right now, it's not the cost. Again, it's only 38 cents. The other item that I wanted to do is, and that's because I get a lot of business people reacting to me, was the $10,000 business grant situation. That grant size is very small. I guess in the last couple of years here, we've given almost $1 million to 2 restaurants, and we're now only providing $10,000 for business. You need to reconsider that. Okay, you need to reconsider that. And again, there's definitely some advice, some good advice that can be given by the business people around here. I also wanted to talk about the Pride program. I think we approved a contribution to it, and I'd like to be able to see it on the agenda. When do you think we can get?
Yeah, we're still meeting with the captain just to discuss the details of the program and getting a little bit more information so we could present that to council.
If it's possible, Captain, if we can get a presentation on, I know that we have, but that video that you have is just great, on the program. Okay. The other item is council. Last meeting we talked about a city ordinance, and I don't want to ask a question at this meeting, but I want to ask a question next meeting on your interpretation of that particular ordinance, because again, I think there was something that was missing. And the last one is that because of the recovery situation, Madam Mayor, I hope that we can, and it doesn't have to be done, at this meeting, but if we would please consider, because of the recovery situation, a senior ad hoc and a business ad hoc, okay? And again, just for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, as for me, I wanted to report, I was able to participate in the homeless count, the LA County. Thank you, Director Ugar and myself, and also a number of the LA County sheriffs, as well as some of our staff. We received the training, and I was assigned to a north portion of the city. And I saw no homeless people, but 2 RVs. Do you have an update of what was our total count for the homeless count?
I do
Director
not
Garcia?
believe we have an account yet from
No.
LASA. So we had an account from that night, but we need to combine that with the work that was done and the riverbeds along the railroad properties and some of the Edison and DWB power lines. So that'll be forthcoming probably in May or June in a presentation to council. So.
Thank you. My observance was that it was very few, and in that evening. And the other thing is that this year it was done digitally. I had never done it in prior years, but we had an app in which we followed the GPS. So we go down every single street, and we had to mark and indicate on the phone in the app that's reported to the county. So Pam was the driver. Director Ugar, and I had the app in which we mark, and we found 2. We were like, oh wow, we were excited to have some action. But on that side of town, it was very few homeless. We didn't see any individuals, but we did see 2 RVs. So I wanted to report that. Thank you to the deputies as well for participating. I think I was assigned the easy portion because we really didn't get much action, but I think the deputies were assigned to more areas that might be prone to homeless convening in those areas. So I want to say it was a great experience, and we stayed up a little late, but we got great training for that. Second, I wanted to mention that this week is National Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. So I will be presenting a proclamation on Thursday at the Salazar High School with the Pride Center, the Pell Center there on Haney Street. And so from 3 to 6 p.m., they're going to have music, a live band, and the intention is to teach teens about actual drug and facts and the dangers of alcohol and drug early use and abuse. So that's an exciting event, which the community members are welcome. Third, I wanted to share, we are proud to have made action after tonight. We actually have implemented the bones for our Veterans Commission. So forthcoming will be an application from the city. We're going to put out a citywide call for Veterans Commissioners, which each one of us will select a veteran or a auxiliary member to serve and advise us in the Veterans Matters. So thank you very much to all the council members that have contributed to this and all the veterans that have helped advise us. And we are also going to have another ad hoc meeting next Monday, which will be continuing to discuss the Veterans Resource Centers. So we are actually getting this off the ground with a lot of structure and making sure that we're building it right for our veterans. So I'm proud to announce that. And then the last item I wanted to mention, this Saturday, I will be hosting a Girls and Inspire Young Girls conference. So the plan is we have 120 young girls from El Rancho High School from 9th to 12th grade. They were identified by counselors and the superintendent and others from El Rancho District. In addition, we invited young women from the Mesrobian High School. And so we have, it's 120 due to capacity. I know it's a small amount of the total girls that are in the city, but they will participate in 4 workshops, which include self-defense, which will be hosted by our captain through the LA County Sheriff's Department. We're super excited about that. There will have a workshop on financial literacy from Commercial Bank. I believe we have a sponsor for that. We will also have another workshop on health and wellness, which is sponsored by Fresenius Medical, health and nutrition. And then we'll also have a workshop on etiquette, including posture, dining etiquette, and that is sponsored by the Marine Corps, by the U.S. Marine Corps. So we'll have a female staff sergeant directing that, and it includes a luncheon with other elected officials such as myself. We'll have a little roundtable conversation with the captain and myself with young girls throughout the city. So I'm super excited for that. This is the first time we'll do it. And the intention is that hopefully in a couple of months we could replicate this and do a young men's conference. So I'm looking to my colleagues here. You'll be part of the planning committee in the next couple of months. So thank you to the staff. We've been working hard these past few months to make this happen, and I'll report at the next meeting how it went. So thank you, and that's it for me. That's it for this item. I think we have a closed session item, City Attorney.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council, we have 2 items for tonight. Conference with labor negotiators listed on the agenda, and also public employee evaluation of the city manager.